for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. I'm your host, Danny M. And today, I want you to pronounce your name because I don't want to mess it up. I've been saying in my mind, Vasudha.
Yes. Oh my God, you said it beautifully.
Vasudha Sharma. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yes.
absolutely correct.
Yes. And so tell everybody who you are. You're an author. And lately, I've been getting a lot of authors that I've been interviewing, but you guys are amazing. So tell them a little bit about your book, Why She Must Leave.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this opportunity and I'm so thankful because, as an author, we truly depend on people trying to know about our book and, trying to find our book. So it's really a huge appreciation to you for having me here. And regarding my book, as you just mentioned, the title, Why She Must Lead, is definitely something which I wanted to write for a long time. I started working on it last year and it just got released on Kindle last week. And
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. And, we hit the Amazon bestseller and I was very, very excited about it because, it's something I always dreamed of. But when you actually go through it, it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then, it's also on hardcover. Many people, I am very old school when I read a book. I really want to feel it. So
Right.
yeah, so it's also on hardcover and people can order it through my website, whyshemuslead.com. And the book is actually, I would say is a nice journey because not only I have spoken about my experiences, I'm not trying to write a book by, trying to create a lecture on what should be done. I am just sharing my experiences, and I feel like as a woman of color, my experiences are important to share because if I really want to make some difference in the world and if I really want to people to understand the importance of the cause, I have to share my experience. And that was the main motivation because I felt like there was no way, nobody was interested in knowing about it unless I tell them. So
Yeah.
I really felt there was a huge need to create that space. So and in addition to that, a lot of other women got attracted to the title, and I had their interview, and they are just like me, but they are in different walks of life. They have faced different barriers, they have faced different bias, but we still were very united in our purpose when we were writing the book. So interviews of a lot of other women were there. Also, I tried to put in great examples which were very inspirational to me. I haven't met some of them, but their examples were very inspirational. So overall, this book is, I would say, a great story put together. It's a nonfiction book, but it's all true story. And what I really enjoyed about my book is that it's a voice. It's not just some words written, it's a voice. People definitely should find that book and help me amplify those voices, because that's what we are really needing when we talk about a leadership gap for the women of color. So that's the more of purpose of the book, to amplify, to help people understand the not only the problem, but also have a problem solving approach towards it.
Yes.
So
I
so
love it.
that's the whole concept of the book.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, because you said you put some of your experiences in the book. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let me, because I have not read the book yet, so I want to know, can you think of the most dynamic example you gave in your book that kind of speaks to why she must lead?
So I there are so many examples. It's like hard to point out, frankly, to one particular one. Every chapter, it has a different kind of flavor to it. But one example which really stands out to me is in my second chapter. I shared a personal example I'm originally from New Delhi, India, and I came to United States about 15 years ago. And my parents are still there, and oftentimes, at least every other year, I try to go and visit them and spend some time with them. So I don't know how many people have been to my country or have seen that, seeing the Indian culture, but it's called a developing nation because it still has a lot of progress to make. And especially, that was one of the reason I grew up there. I came here at the age of 25.
Mhm.
So I have seen the growing up life. And then when I came to this land of opportunities, I've seen that side of life too. So
Yeah.
when I went there, there was a girl who was a helper in my house, and she really, she was denied a lot of opportunity in her life because, of the kind of role she had to fulfill to help her family sustain. And I was really amazed at, when I was visiting my parents, she came up to me and she said, I want to learn English. And
Mm.
when she, when I looked at her, I was really fascinated because I feel a woman who can speak up for themselves
Mhm.
are really very inspirational to me, especially when they speak up in a workplace that has a very different role for them.
Yeah.
So it's that example I have put very well in the book, that how that example led to a change in her community when she spoke up to me. Initially I was taken a little bit by surprise because I came to visit my parents, I don't have time to tutor anybody.
Mhm.
But I really paid attention to what she was saying. I don't know if I did enough, but I tried to give her some direction and try to help her. And later, a lot of people, a lot of girls in her community could find the similar way to learn English. So I think those kind of examples where a woman is, despite of whatever roles they have, or what current situation they are in, they're speaking up for themselves. They're trying to find a way to a better life. That
Yes.
speaks volume. And so that's the
That's
example I
that's
wanted to share.
that's inspirational on so many different levels because I can imagine. I've never been to India, but the rules for women are even different there as compared to the US, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a different, it's a different world there. And I mean, fortunately, whole world is progressing and women are getting into workforce, but I still see the leadership gap. I still see a lot of opportunities which are being missed for women. So I definitely wanted to highlight that.
Awesome, awesome. Wow. So let me ask you, what inspired you to do a nonfiction versus a fiction book?
um, that's a great question, actually. I do love fiction, frankly. I started writing poetry when I was very little, and I do like reading and writing fiction as well. But I am very drawn to social justice. I'm very drawn to causes which are personally important to me. And a lot of times I've felt like, especially in this century, at the beginning of the century, we saw a huge number of women enter the workforce, huge number of women. There was a great shift. In fact, in 2018, there were a lot of women, first time, who ran for elections.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of changes happening. So a perception of people is like women are everywhere. So that perception is okay. That's not entirely wrong. But women are not in decision making positions. They are not in the positions, key leadership position. They are not assigned the roles which define leadership positions. So for instance, when you look at Fortune 500 companies, there are only 38 women CEOs out of
Right.
500. That's like a
Mhm.
huge leadership gap right there.
Yeah.
And then out of those 38, we have only 3 women of color, and none of them is Black or Latino. So I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, how come people don't talk about that? How come
We don't get it either.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, no. This is not very, I do see that women are stepping up, but I do see there is still, there is a gap from, their entry-level position and the leadership position. So I think that I had to talk about it. I had to bring it up. That topic personally affected me too, because, you know, I have faced a lot of barriers and biases in my professional life. And so that's why I was really motivated to write this book.
That's awesome. And so then that kind of leads into the next question. You kind of already answered, but not quite. What motivated you to come up with the title, She Must Lead?
So, you know, it's very, you know, this is the second time I'm answering in one day. This is the same question I had with one of my reviewers today. So it's a very fascinating question, actually. You know, what happened was, usually when people are writing books, they do not know how to title their book, all of them. Like,
Yeah.
I belong to authors community, and we spend sometimes days on what would be a good suitable title to the book. With me, it was other way around. I knew the title of the book, I had to write the book.
Oh, wow.
Because the reason was, I have seen paradoxes in society, especially for women. You know, my culture, the Indian culture, is very patriarchal, and then, you know, here I've seen, you know, leadership gaps, and, you know, so there are a lot of paradoxes. Like, for example, when I was born, the prime minister of India at that time was a female, but my own grandmother was illiterate. So there was a huge paradox, and, you know, there were women who had everything, and there were women who had nothing. So I just felt like, you know, when I tried to find myself an ideal, like an icon for myself, there were not many to choose from. They were very, you know, it was a shallow pool. So I was like, no, this is a question inside me. This is a quest inside me, why there are so few women leaders in the world. So that's why we had to start the title of the book with a why.
I love it. It's very dynamic, very powerful. Caught my attention.
Yes.
What are some challenges that you may have faced while either developing the book or just finalizing the book? Did you hit any bumps in the road along the way?
Oh God, yes. I think if anytime you are trying to do something apart from what you are supposed to do, because, you know, I mean, I don't know if I was supposed to write a book. I had a job, I'm raising a family, but this was my passion. I followed my passion when I was writing. So of course, you know, like everybody else, I face challenges when I try to follow my heart and, you know, take my passion. But the thing is that one of the major challenge was time management. I think that happens with most of the people when they have, you know, their plate full. You know, you're doing so much as a woman. You're constantly multitasking. You're already, like, you know, you feel like your hands and plates are full all the time. But, you know, in that, if you add your passion, you're like, do I have time for this? So and that was one thing I felt like, you know, in fact, from the very beginning, everybody was asking me, how do you find time to write? And even I felt that, you know, this is something which I need to teach myself. I mean, when I'm following my passion, I shouldn't lose my battle with my, you know, job, with what I'm supposed to do, you know. At home, my kids shouldn't feel like, you know, I am not able to give them the time or attention they need. That was a huge challenge in the beginning, to be very honest. And then the second challenge was perfectionism. You know, I think that's a huge barrier to women. If you try to be perfect all the time, you're not going to be doing a whole lot and you won't be able to achieve a whole lot. So I always say done is better than perfect. So I think I had to give up a lot of that inside me. I had to just make myself understand that, you know, things are going to be the way they are going to be. But if I have to follow my dream or my passion, the first thing is I have to learn time management. And because, you know, if you want to do something, we'll make time for it.
That's right.
So, and the second thing was I have to let go of perfectionism. So I have to make sure that, you know, not everything is going to be just the way I want it, but I definitely have to make sure it's done.
Yeah, well, I love it. Very, very good tips. So with that, you know, I'm glad that you were able to recognize the challenges that you had and you were able to, still sail through. But who was your support during all of this as you're balancing family, trying to write a book? Maybe you have a couple of business ventures. Who would you say was your supportive team?
Um, I think for the first and foremost support for any woman is another woman she can talk to. And that's what I feel, because you need a good mental health to be able to move forward in your life. Yes, of course my husband supported me, but I didn't I really, during I need to have that kind of connection or bonding with somebody very close in my life, that, I have their support when I'm moving. So in my case, it was very close group of my girlfriends, and, I can talk to them. I can really vent out if I have to.
Yeah.
And which will my husband would not take for, I'm pretty sure, if I do that. But so I feel like you always should have a village of your own. You need to have that village. There is not a single person who can just be all and end all for you. And I think that's fair. That's totally fair to have, your own support system to which can, hold you throughout the journey.
Oh, I love it. So let me ask you, any advice to those that are looking for a career breakthrough, women in particular?
I would say, first of all, start with your why. You should have a good reason. I mean, of course, I want to be the president of the United States, but I need to start with the why. What is right for me? I shouldn't place myself on a glass cliff. Like I'm starting from there. Of course, my disappointments would be greater too. I'm not saying that you should dream low, but start with your why. Understand why you want it. Once you know that, definitely I would say use all your might to get there, but have a good reason, have a fair reason, and then start from there. Look at what skills you need to develop, because skills are most important, even more than, I would say, passion and inspiration. Skills, I put a lot of value on improving the skills, because I feel like if you focus on your skills, things fall in place pretty easily. If you are just dreaming and just following just motivation, but you're not working towards it, it's gonna definitely make things harder. So start with your why, build your skills, and you'll get there.
Love it. Great advice, ladies and men. And men. So if you could choose a country besides the US to promote your book, which one would you choose?
Of course, it'll be India. I grew up there, and my parents are there. Half of my family is there, and I always feel, well, we are global citizens now. I don't think you can just think like of just one place in your life. We all travel. We all have friends. The world is becoming so small day by day.
It is. It truly is. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this also too, as a side question. Have you translated your book to both English, and what's your native language?
Hindi,
Hindi.
yeah, I haven't done that, and this is being asked many times.
Hmm.
I really feel I should do that. Actually, when I was writing the book, I was trying to also be engaged in a lot of speaking activities. So I thought, and I speak 3 languages. So I thought I'll be a good speaker about the topic. And I thought people would love that, just I am trying to spread the idea and do those, different opportunities to speak, different platforms to speak about it in different languages. But I think I should translate it. I'm really starting to find ways to get that done.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll be a great idea for you. And also, can you tell the audience what new products, or sorry, not products, projects can we look forward to in 2021, and maybe
So
even the end of this year?
absolutely, yeah. So there are 2 programs I launched with my book, because one of the major area of my interest is to do workshop for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I feel like it should not just be the words which look like jumbled up to people. They don't know what equity is, or what it looks like, all one together. At the same time, world is becoming more diverse, and we find people from different walks of life. They are, it's very frequent that we should get intrigued, and we should try to learn more. So I definitely want to do more workshops on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's the next. Those workshops are next. I have named my workshop as Lead the Change. So for organizations, when they are hiring diverse candidates, they should also understand, how to handle the diversity.
Yes.
So that's next for me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So please, before we go and we wrap up this interview, please let them know where they can find your website, where they can find your book, and how to purchase.
Sure. Yeah. My book, as I mentioned, is available on Amazon Kindle, and I will definitely email you the link after this. And then we have also on my own personal website the hardcover version, if you really like to have the book in the hardcover. And the name of the website is the title of the book, whysheMust.com.
Awesome. Well, Miss Vasudha, it's been a pleasure interviewing you today. You have so many great talents. I look forward to reading your book. And guys, make sure you check out her book. Go to her website. It's www.whysheMustLead.com.
Oh my God, thank you so much. You are so amazing. I love this session with you. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So guys, make sure you go check her out. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. We'll see you next week.